Hi. There is a moment in every healer's life, a moment nobody sees coming, where the person who holds everything together starts to quietly fall apart. Everyone notices when the loud friend stops laughing, and everyone notices when the confident friend starts doubting. But almost no one notices when the strong one, the steady one, the emotional anchor, the fixer, is the one who needs saving. And that's what I want to talk about today. Some of us didn't choose this role. We became the healer, the listener, the safe place, because life forced us into it before we even understood what it meant. And maybe you grew up around chaos and learned to be the calm one. And maybe you were the child who soothed the adults because no one soothed you. Or maybe you realized early on that people stayed when you helped them, but left when you needed help back. So you adapted. You became the strong one. You became the person people relied on. And you became the one who could take the heavy conversations, the broken pieces, the midnight cries, and the emotional baggage, and the unresolved trauma others didn't want to deal with. And for a while, it felt purposeful. It even felt powerful. Helping people gives you meaning. It gives you a role, and it gives you a reason to keep going. And it gives you the illusion that if you just love hard enough, or if you pour enough, or if you show up enough, someone will one day will show up and do the same for you. But there's a cost. A slow, quiet erosion, a slow, very quiet erosion of a draining you didn't even notice until one day you wake up and you're exhausted in ways sleep can't fix. Because here's the truth. You can only give from an overflowing cup for so long before you realize yours has been empty for years. And you start to feel it when people only call when they need something. Or you feel it when you're the one calming tensions that you didn't even cause. You feel it when you become the emotional shelter for storms that were never yours. And other people walk away feeling lighter, while you walk away feeling heavier. You'll say things like, I'm just tired, I'm overwhelmed, or I just need a day. But it's deeper than that. It's a soul tiredness. It's a fatigue that comes from being a safe place for people who never stay long enough to check in to even see if you're drowning. And what's worse is you keep showing up anyway, because that's what healers do. There comes a moment so small it almost goes unnoticed when everything inside of you hits its limit. And maybe it's a conversation where someone unloads on you without asking how you're doing. Or maybe it's the 100th time you said it's okay, even though it's clearly not okay. And maybe it's the realization that you are the support system, but you are not the one supported. And suddenly, the healer cracks. And it's not because they're weak, not because they're dramatic, but because they've been carrying emotions meant for 10 people. on the shoulders of one person. And you start to feel misunderstood, unseen, unappreciated, and invisible in your own relationships. People mistake your silence for strength, when really it's the sound of someone breaking quietly, hoping someone will hear what you aren't saying. And you want to know what's really wild? The healer's breakdown is often the calmest meltdown you'll ever witness. It's not yelling, it's not chaos, it's not dramatic. It's, I'm fine, I'm just tired, I just need a moment. Meanwhile, inside, you're collapsing inward. This is the part most people never understand. The emotionally strong person is often the loneliest person in the room. And it's not because they don't have people around them. It's because no one thinks to check on the person who seems to be strong enough. People assume you don't need reassurance, and people assume that you don't need comfort. And people will assume that you don't need help. People assume that your strength is endless. But the healer's strength has always been a survival skill, not a bottomless resource. And when you finally reach your emotional limit, the world acts shocked because they never saw you as someone who could break. They saw you as the one who fixes. But here's the real transformation, and this is where it begins. There comes a moment when you finally understand. You weren't put on this earth to bleed yourself dry so others could thrive. You weren't born to be an emotional dumping ground for people who never clean up their own messes. And you weren't designed to save everybody at the cost of losing yourself. You start realizing not everyone deserves access to my heart, and not everyone earns the right to lean on you, and not everyone should be allowed to drain you. Not everyone is capable of caring for you the way you cared for them. And that's not your fault. When the healer starts healing themselves, everything changes. You begin to set boundaries. You start saying, I can't be that for you right now. You learn to let silence speak for you. And you recognize who only came for what you could give, and who stayed when you had nothing left to offer. This is the moment the healer transforms into the alchemist. Someone who doesn't just mend others, but rebuilds themselves from truth, from wisdom, and self-respect. So yes, maybe the healer dies in the old story. The version of you who overextended and overgave and overwrote your own needs, that version fades. But in its place, a new version rises. One who chooses himself as deeply as they once chose everyone else. A version who understands that healing isn't a martyrdom. It's that being loving doesn't mean that they're being drained. That caring for others should never cost you your sanity. And this new version of you knows you can still be soft, and you can still be kind, and you can still be supportive, but not at the expense of your own peace. And this time, you save you first. And that doesn't make you selfish. It makes you whole. And if you spent your whole life being the strong one, this is your reminder. You are allowed to need. You are allowed to rest, and you are allowed to fall apart. You're allowed to receive, and you're allowed to be held. You're allowed to be human, not just helpful. You deserve the same gentleness you've been giving to everyone else. And maybe, just maybe, it's finally your turn. When the healer finally cracks, something unexpected happens. It's quiet. It's almost peaceful. Almost like your soul says enough. And for the first time, you listen. The world doesn't end. People don't disappear. The sky doesn't fall. Life doesn't collapse the way you feared it would if you stopped being everything for everyone. Instead, life shifts. You start noticing things that you ignored for years. Who drains you? Who refills you? Whose presence calms your nervous system and whose presence overwhelms it? Who checks on you without being prompted and who only reaches out when they need something? It's like your emotional eyesight sharpens. You see people clearly, sometimes for the first time, and you see yourself clearly too. And the biggest shock, choosing yourself doesn't feel selfish. It feels like oxygen. You realize how long you have been holding your breath just to keep other people breathing. You start doing little things that feel foreign at first. You say no without apologizing. You don't reply right away. You leave texts unread when you don't have the emotional bandwidth to reply. And walking away from conversations that felt like emotional quicksand. Taking time for yourself also without explaining why. And at first, it feels wrong. It feels unfamiliar because you were conditioned to believe your worth was tied to your usefulness. But slowly, one boundary at a time, you begin rebuilding yourself. You realize self-respect has a different frequency. It feels safe. It feels grounding. It feels like your soul is finally being heard. And you start to feel like someone who belongs in your own life again. Not someone who just serves a purpose in everyone else's. Healing for a healer doesn't look like sage or crystals or meditation playlists all the time. Sure, those things help. They're outlets, they're sources. But healing looks like unlearning. Healing looks like shedding the identity you wrote for survival. And you stop internalizing other people's emotions. And you stop carrying what isn't yours anymore. You suddenly stop trying to fix people's problems that don't belong to you. Not because you don't care, but because you finally understand your value isn't measured by how much you can endure. You stop over-explaining and over-giving. You stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. And you stop stretching yourself thin to make others satisfied. You learn the difference between helping and enabling. And sometimes saving people is the very thing that keeps them from growing. Sometimes stepping back is the most loving thing you can do, even if it hurts. And you learn to receive. And this is the hardest part. You have to learn to be supported. And you learn to let people pour into you. And you learn to let others show up for you. And you let it feel safe. Healing looks like becoming whole, not becoming everything for everyone else. When you start choosing yourself, your relationships change. Some people pull closer. The ones who love you for your heart, not your labor. They adjust because they care. And they adapt because they want you well, not just useful. Others fall apart, not because you're doing anything wrong, but because they only knew how to love the version of you that exhausted yourself for them. And here's the truth. Losing people you are emotionally carrying is not loss. It's clarity. You begin to see the difference between two types of people. People who love you and people who love what you do for them. This distinction changes everything. You stop clinging, you stop chasing, and you stop explaining why you're tired, or why you're distant, or why you can't pour endlessly. Your energy will speak for itself. Then comes the strange part. The moment when you look into the mirror and you realize, I don't want to be the saver anymore. Not because you're bitter, but because you're finally aware that healing others while neglecting yourself is not love. It's abandonment. You begin rewriting your identity from scratch. You're not the strong one. You're not the responsible one. You're not the emotional support human. You're not the one who always understands. You're a human being with needs, limits, desires, feelings, and boundaries. You become someone who belongs to yourself, not someone who belongs to everyone else. And that shift is liberating. It's terrifying, it's empowering, and it is holy. The healer dies, yes. The version of you that survived by saving others, that version fades. But something wiser takes its place. The alchemist. The alchemist doesn't just mend broken things. They transform them. They turn pain into wisdom, and they turn boundaries into protection. They turn loneliness into self-discovery, and they turn heartbreak into alignment. They turn exhaustion into rebirth. The alchemist creates a life they don't have to escape from. A life where they matter. A life where they are included in their own care. You become someone who understands that your power doesn't come from how much you can hold, but how much you can honor yourself while holding what's yours. And that version of you, that version lives. So if you've ever felt like the world expected you to heal everyone else, but never thought to ask if you were hurting too, just know this. You don't have to be the strong one anymore. You don't have to be the hero, and you don't have to be the emotional oxygen tank for people who never bring you air. And this chapter of your life is about you, your rest, your peace, your softness, and your becoming. The healer might die in the old story, but in this one, you come back to life.